my life.
Oh, man.
I have a tiny handful.
I hear you.
When you're ready.
I hear you. We go live, man. We'll go live right now.
Yeah.
We'll kick it off, man. We'll just get right into it.
Let's that and all that shit.
Yeah, we got to get the mic closer to your face because I put a noise gate on it, try to keep our vocals from getting intertwined and echoing. See how that works out for us today. But it's Memorial Day, and man, you had a couple days off. You got out of town. I didn't get out of town, but I just had to decompress from people, like just work stress. Nothing. Honestly, that's the best part.
I thought you went out on your boat.
I did. I did go on the boat on Saturday. Went out with Jacob, Julia, and I want to go wakeboarding, and Jacob wakeboards with me. And look, I'm an old guy, so I do my best.
First of all, nothing I hate worse than for decades younger than me saying how old they are.
What's that? I don't know. I'll have to look at when I'm done. You figure it out. You're young, you figure it out. And well, pick it up, move it. This kid, man. Life struggles. Lawnmower struggles. Lawnmower struggles, man. Yeah, we went out and so Jacob hurt his hand at jiu-jitsu like a month ago, a tournament, and he no, that's my son. And he thinks he broke part of his hand, like in a tournament, and it's been getting better. It's been feeling okay. So he's like, yeah, I feel fine. I think we can go. He's like, I've been rolling. I think we'll be fine. And so we were fine for a little while, and then he he got out there and he tried to jump over the wake or something. He didn't let go of the rope, and it just snatched out of his hand and just kind of pulled his hand open. You could see it on his face immediately. He was just in pain. Like he was like, oh, just hurting. And he got on the boat, and it was swole up, and it was purple, and so he was down for the count. So I didn't do it, man. Yesterday I went to work. I printed some shirts. I cleaned up around shop. I just avoided like people. Like I just needed to not deal with people, really, and just kind of like if I just want to come home and just take a nap, just let me take a nap. I don't want to have
I do
to
that
do
all
anything.
the time. I'm never around people. I take naps all the time. That's not really an issue. It's weird to say that. I'm sure that's how people feel. They're like, man, I need to get away from people. I'm away from people. I mean, I spend a big chunk of my day just me. Now, I'm around people, but I'm able to mentally block them out like they don't even exist. And it's very rare when somebody will enter into my world. I have so few conversations. So I'm able to separate. Maybe that's the way a part of it is my personality, I think. Maybe it's just the way I present myself. I'm not sure, but it is easy for me to separate from people. And sometimes it's difficult for me to reattach.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, I spend so much time doing things exactly the way I want to in my own world that is so different from the world that everyone else lives in, that it's very rare that I'm able to communicate with another person. Even you, this is extremely rare. I don't know what you would term our relationship. I don't know if you would consider it a friendship or just a partnership or whatever, but all of the relationships I have with other human beings are completely unique unto themselves. There is no group of friends. There is no person that I know any of the people that they know.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So
I have a couple people like that, but I spend at my job, I'm there all day by myself. I don't really I don't have walk-ins anymore. I just nix that. I don't need people coming in there and bugging me. And so I spend most of my day by myself, which wasn't the case. When I had employees, I employed people that I liked, and I'd just talk to them all day, and it was always a social environment for me at work. But for the last 9 months, it's just me. And there'll be whole days where I just don't see any people at all. It's just me. And if I see Megan or something during the day or after work, but outside of that, I mean, it's just like, I need to talk to people. But I don't have a big friend group like that. I mean, I used to when I was younger, but now I'm like, dude, it takes so much energy just to like build bonds with people. relationships, people. It takes a lot of energy to
and not
maintain
only
them.
that, man. Unfortunately, and I never know. I don't like to. I try as hard as I can to never prejudge any single human being, because some of the people I've expected the least from have turned out to be some of the best people that I've ever met, and some of the people that I thought were really genuinely good human beings when I met them turned out to be some of the worst people that I've ever met. And nobody's ever hurt me worse than the people that I trusted the most. The people that I've brought into my life that I thought were going to be people that were in my life forever. And those are the people that genuinely have inflicted the most pain on me. So, it's very, very difficult. I try to just kind of wander through life and am open to whatever encounter I'm going to experience with another human being. But in terms of what I needed to do, and of course, as a waiter, I encounter people all day long, but I'm in such a work mode. It's not my personality. It's
Right.
not who I am. It has nothing to do with who I am as a person. The only time I've ever felt completely free to be myself, express myself exactly the way that I want to, is when I was on stage doing stand up or doing an open mic. And I have realized since my conversation with my son, who I shared while I was visiting him for his high school graduation, what we do, I allowed him to be aware of it,
Right.
know where it was, had him view it. He was brutal in his assessment. He was not impressed.
Really?
At all. It's painful to get that kind of feedback, but it's constructive. Because for me, I want to do well. And sometimes in my life, I feel like I'm doing well. That's just my mentality. I'm like, I've prepared hard. I've worked hard. This is what I want to do. And of course, this is ultimately the thing that I've aspired to do my entire life. I've thought about doing this since before I was even in college. So I've definitely always wanted to be at this moment. And I felt that all of the things I've been through in life prepared me for it.
Right.
But the only thing that my son even noticed, he made 2 critiques. He said, "You're so loud." That's all I noticed, is how loud you are. And I know that's true, because that's when I'm being myself, I am very loud. That's why I don't use a mic at open mics. That's why I don't use a mic on stage, because I know how loud I am. But I thought that would translate well to this. It does not, clearly. And he said, "And you cuss like a middle schooler who just learned cuss words for the first time and is using those cuss words like a child who just learned them." And I was like, wow. That has an effect. I responded by saying, "Well, I'm not doing what I'm doing for you."
Right.
Out of defense. But the fact of the matter is, I am exactly doing this for him. I want to reach his demographic, his age group. They're the people that are going to make the difference and the change in the world. That's who we're trying to reach. So I've got to accept that feedback. I've got to accept.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand that sentiment too. I mean, I guess you got to figure out who is your target audience and how are they going to respond, because I feel like the older generation, 50 plus, profanity was something that only elders really used much. You didn't use it as a kid. You definitely didn't say it around your parents. That kind of stigma, right? It was just bad words. Then you had the next generation.
Did you get your mouth washed out?
Fuck yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Soap.
Right.
Yep. Bar soap, man.
I got it washed out with dish soap.
Yeah, dish
That's
soap, bar soap.
nasty
Fucking
shit.
listen, whatever soap mom has in the immediate vicinity is
Right.
what you got.
Yeah, sure.
And then and then it became more mainstream in movies, in music, in entertainment, and we see it all over the place now, to where profanity is just an accent word for the most part.
Right.
It's not really something that you go, "Oh my God, I can't believe they said that in that," in whatever. You did it. It's just, you goes in one ear out the other.
Yeah.
And the context of it is very different. So I understand kind of where he comes from. And I think part of, from me watching your stand-up sets or even your rants, I think that the way that you deliver them, even though they are profanity-laced rants, it's not, I don't know if it'll be the same without at least 80% of that in there. I don't know.
Well, here's the thing, and this is going to be my approach going forward. First of all, I will never change who I am. I can't. The only thing, I hope that the reason that we're working on this project together is because there is a certain level of respect and belief in each other that what we're doing ultimately is going to have some impact. You know, maybe your motivation, everyone's motivation for doing things is a little bit differently. I've had business partners in a wide variety of things. Sometimes their motivation was always to make money, and a lot of people, they want to make money, and I get that. I understand that's other people. My motivation always is to be the very best at what I do. I know nothing about podcasts. I've never watched one. I've certainly only been, I've been on one other one before this. And so to me, this is a learning experience. What I wanted to bring to it was my personality as I appeared on stage. If that's not going to be an effective way to deliver a message, then I don't want to come across that way.
Right.
What I do want to do is I want to come across in a way that people can understand and listen to what we're saying. I think we have differing views on a wide variety of issues, and it's important for both sides of those topics to be discussed.
Right.
And I need to present my side of what I'm saying in a way that people can digest it. Because if it's not, then it's useless.
I'll tell you, I played it for a friend, someone I hadn't seen in probably 2 years, and we were chatting online or whatever, and she was in the area, and I said, "Well, come by, we can catch up." So she stopped by the house, and we were just catching up on life, and asked me what I was doing and stuff. And I said, "Well, I'm doing these things." So I said, "I'll show you one of the episodes." So I played some of the clips for her, and I'll tell you, when you play somebody the rants that you do, they're very like, man, I mean, it's intense, but that's the idea. The idea is the rant is supposed to be intense. It's supposed to capture some part of you, at least I feel like, some part of you that just goes, whoa. And then she's like, okay, well, let me watch something else. Okay, but that's not you 24/7. Like, we have a conversation like this, or we have a conversation about a topic where we're both interested in, or, I would say the debates might get, I wouldn't say intense to the intent. I don't know what where I'm trying to think of is, but just to look at it and go, if all we showed were just Marshall's rants, the picture it would paint of you would just be this guy who screams and cusses it at the mic. But that's just a small snippet of what we're doing. But it is a big snippet of what you do and how you get your stuff across live on stage.
But if people can't get past that,
I get that.
That's the thing.
Right, I understand.
If people tune in, we're obviously, we're wanting to reach people's ears. To me, how that's going to translate in the future towards other elements of success, I don't know. But what we want to do, or at least what I want to do, is I want to reach people's ears. I want to reach as many ears as possible with what I'm saying, because I want to solve problems. I see all these things happening in a world that I love so much. I love being alive. I love being an American. I love being a veteran. I love being a part of this world. I love being a father. I love having a son. I love trying to guide him through the things I experienced. And if that message can't be received, and if people are going to immediately say, this is unlistenable to, I don't want to hear any more of what this guy has to say, and I'm blocking our progress towards reaching as many ears as possible, then I've got to make adjustments. And the format, I want it to be balanced. I want it to be where we discuss topics that are critical to both of us, and we have opportunities to present what we have to say together. And I don't, and I also want to skew from being attacking people, the don't be a dick and the my rants and all that stuff. Maybe that's just not, I listen to my son like he's the voice of God. When he talks to me, I really do feel this way. I feel like it's God's way of talking, because he's the only, he's unfiltered. He's not scared of me. He's not worried about what I'm going to think. He knows flat out what he likes. I want to reach his generation. They can make a difference. They can have an impact. When I'm dead, I want him to pick up where I left off. That's what I'm praying happens in my life. I'm hoping that I die And my son looks at what I've done in the world and the impact that I've had and says to himself, without any prodding from me, no nothing, he says, I want to follow in his footsteps. There's a gap in society that's now open because my father's no longer there, and I want to step in and fill it.
Okay.
And if I can create that, I will consider my life successful. And that's what I'm going to shoot towards.
I get you.
And try not to lose myself along the way.
I think there's room for all of it. That my opinion is like, I understand where you're coming from on that aspect of it. But I also think that there's something in there for everybody, because like I said, I played 2 of the rants and one of the other clips for Kim, and the restaurant rant, the one about tipping, she thought that was fucking great. She's like, that's the greatest thing. She's like, I need to send that to as many people as I know. And there's always going to be something for somebody, and how they perceive it is going to be different. So I wouldn't even say it's an attack, because at the end of the day, it is a message, but at the end of the day, it's also meant to be somewhat funny and humorous.
Right.
And
well, he's rough on me. My son is rough on me.
Yeah, but he hasn't. I get that, but he hasn't lived life long enough to understand that sometimes it's just jokes, and there's going to be people that don't just,
we're going to take the humor out. Look, man, I like. There have been so many times in my life where somebody that I thought was a good friend of mine, we got comfortable enough where I just would start joking around about everything. Because to me, everything in the world is funny.
Right.
Everything's funny. I laugh about everything to myself. Not out loud. I rarely laugh out loud, but I laugh to myself about almost everything. Everything I see, I think it's funny. I think it's funny when certainly anything except human suffering. Anything outside of human suffering, I find it hilarious. The way people think, the way people express themselves. My job, everything about life is funny to me. And I like to make those observations. And I love to rant about them. And I'm never going to stop doing that. But I need to do it in a constructive way. I need to do it in a way that people can listen to it. I need to do it in a way that people won't want to tune me out. I know that there have been times in my life, many times, over the many cities and many years and many places I've done open mics, where I've had people in the audience who are like, man, that guy's just fucking loud. He's just loud. And I'm like, all right. And I blew it off. For the most part, I blew it off. I was like, you don't like me, but I'm getting great feedback from these people. Well, I want to try to reach everybody. I want us to reach everybody. I want us to be the greatest podcast that ever existed. When podcasts are done no differently, what I owe to you for you allowing me to be here, you don't have any obligation to let me walk through that door and do this. There's a million guys doing open mics around Atlanta that would kill to be in here. And I'm the one that gets to. I'm going to, out of respect for that opportunity, I've got to make sure that when I come here every time we do this, whether it turns into a daily thing or a weekly thing or the way it is now, we're just kind of showing up when we can. I want to make sure that I'm bringing something that the largest number of people can look at and say, man, I'm learning something. I'm laughing. I'm having a good time. We're solving problems. I want to be a part of this. I want to listen to these guys. I want to be a part of this thing. And that's I
think we're on the right track for doing all of that. I really do, because like I said, we have the ability to have all of that encompassed in there. We can make jokes and stuff, which is great. I mean, we can find segments where they're just funny as shit. And then you can have a serious conversation about topics that are very important, that need to be discussed from someone who's not 85 years old and sitting in Congress. And then you can also have the rants, because look, man, as much as it sounds filled with expletives and fucks and whatever. Look, you need to hear it. Some people need to hear that, and it's funny. And you're not gonna, you can reach everybody without everybody liking you. That's the moral of it. Is everyone can listen to it.
I guarantee you. Look, I know enough about life. I'm not gonna be liked by people.
Which is fine. That's completely okay. We don't have to. Not everyone has to like you.
No.
But that they listen to it. That's all you ask, and go, hey, I didn't like that. Good. Listen to the next one.
Right.
See if you don't like that.
You didn't like that. There's worse coming. There's a lot
There's
worse.
a lot worse coming.
Right.
So, people can take it as not in a direct, it's never going to be a direct attack on an individual or a group of people. It's going to be a constructive criticism on life.
Sure.
And take that for what it is. And if you're offended by it, then reassess your life and figure out why you're offended by it, because it's not meant to be.
And if you think you're offended by that, there's more offensive things coming. Because I can assure you, look, the one thing, no matter what, even if I try to dial down my volume, which I'm not gonna yell. I can communicate without yelling, and if necessary, I can try as hard as I can. I used to go to an open mic in Nashville that you weren't allowed to cuss at all, and it was every Thursday night. But it was packed, and I wanted to go so bad, and the guy that ran it loved me. And he knew there was a good chance that I wasn't going to make it through the 5 minutes without cussing. And he even said, because I slipped a couple times, I would get so emotional, I would get so fired up, I would slip, and he'd be like, "Marshall, it's okay. You have immunity." And I'd be like, "Man, I don't want immunity. I want to live by whatever the rules are. Because you give me no immunity." You give me immunity, you give me free. Before you know it, I'm up here doing what I do when I'm at other places, and I don't want to do that. I'm not there to disrupt. I'm there to send a good, strong message. I should be able to do it without the profanity. I've heard that many times.
I should have. I wonder if I did save this clip. There's a clip I just saw from Gary Vaynerchuk, who talks about because he uses fuck a lot in all of his speeches. Everything he does, he's not apologetic of it. And he said in this clip, he was in an interview, and he said, I could be more successful than I am now if I just wasn't me out of the gate. But this is me out of the gate is too aggressive for some people, and it's too much. But once you get past me out of the gate and you get into, the regular, everyday life of Gary Vaynerchuk, where I'm not this raging bull all the time. He's like, then you understand that we could do these deals, we could make these things happen, but some people can't get past the initial, and I'm okay with that.
Well, I can tell you this, and I don't know Gary. I've never seen the dude. I can't speak for him. I can speak for myself. Starting from when I was probably 3 years old, whatever age you're old enough to cognizantly remember what's going on around you,
right?
You're aware of life. I had 50 times a day. And when you're 3, you're not withholding your personality. Your personality is out. And 50 times a day, everyone around me telling me to calm down. Everyone, all day long, starting from when I was 3 until probably I was about 35, 40 years old.
Right.
And that never, and I always, I would dismiss it. I would just be like, what? But when it comes from my son, who I want to have an impact on differently than any other person in the world, I don't really care. And honestly, what anybody thought of me prior to him, I really didn't give a shit. Whatever people thought about me, whatever people's opinion was of me, I was like, whatever. If they don't like the way I'm presenting myself, go f yourself. I don't give a shit. But with my son, look, man, I want him to have something tangible that he can hold on to when I'm gone. I didn't even expect to be alive now. I thought I'd be dead long ago. Everyone told me I would be. They promised that I would be dead long before now. And still, somehow, I'm alive.
Got that Keith Richards gene, man. Can't
take
him out.
My ex-wife, who despises me.
The ex-wife tried her damnedest to kill you. That's what happened. She's like, I don't know how the fuck he survived all of that.
We rode in the car this week, and she was like, we rode to the graduation. She was like, you're going to live to be 110. And I was like, where do you get that from? She's like, because annoying people always live to be 110, and you are annoying.
My cousin, man, listen, if there's ever a guy out there who has no aspirations to do anything with his fucking life, it's my cousin. And he lived with me for like 10 years. He worked for me for like 10 years. And he did nothing. Outside of work, this dude would smoke cigarettes, drink beer, sometimes play games on his computer. That's it. That's it. He smoked more cigarettes than any person I knew. He drank more freaking beer than any person I knew. And I'm like, you will never die. You don't get sick. You just
That's
keep
exactly
on
what my
trucking.
ex said to me. She was like, "You never get sick," and she's like, "And you eat like hell." And I was just like, "You know,
figured it out.
I eat a protein shake once in a while. I mean, come on,
Some carrots.
I'm trying."
It's funny because when I was dating Megan, she always, oh, you don't have insurance, it's too risky. You don't go to the doctor. I'm like, but I don't get sick and I don't feel bad. Meanwhile, you have insurance. You go to the doctor all the time. You're falling apart. 10 years younger than me. Your body is falling apart.
Right.
Like you're always in pain. There's nothing
Right.
wrong with you.
I'm not here to mock anybody. I'm not.
No, it's just the way it is.
And my ex lives a clean life. She hasn't done any of the things I've done. But she's in pain all the time. She can barely move. There are times she wakes up, she can't even get out of bed. And she has lived a life of a saint.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, you go to the doctor all the time. The doctor's giving you those medications. You're doing all that crazy shit. I'm like, not me, man. I'm out there. I drink almost a bottle of tequila every single day.
I don't buy that. No way. I don't buy it. How could you drink that? I mean, look, I just don't. When do you find the time to drink that much tequila?
There's 24 hours.
There's 24 hours. You
24
fall
hours.
asleep. How many ounces are in that bottle? It's a liter, right? What's that? 32 ounces?
I mean,
64 ounces? 64 ounces a gallon. So a liter is what?
that's not a gallon.
No, I'm saying I'm just doing math in my head.
And I'm not bragging. I don't want to.
I'm just
And
saying,
I
like,
switched to dark tequila. I used to drink the light, but I was like, that's not even doing anything anymore. I guess the point where the light tequila is like drinking water.
I don't like tequila. I don't like the taste of tequila. I don't drink it.
I like the effect.
I mean,
like
the
the
effect
effect.
comes
You
from
can-
a lot of them.
You can. Here's what I love about tequila. You take a shot of tequila, and even if you're not in a good mood, as you take the shot, if you don't do a margarita or some crap where you put juice in it or ice in it or whatever, you just tequila, even nasty tequila. I drink El Toro. It's the worst tequila they make. It's not even quality tequila. It's rot gut tequila. It's below. Most places won't even carry it as their well tequila. They'd be like the El Toro salesman could come in and be like, "What do you guys think? Well, this will be your well tequila. It's very cheap. You can get it for almost nothing. It's $3 a bottle. What do you think?" And they'd be like, "No, thank you." But I love El Toro.
That's crazy.
And nobody else will even, when I go to the liquor store, I know that I walk in and I know they're like, here comes that guy that always buys El Toro. Here's the guy. The only guy.
The only guy
That walks through the door and buys El Toro.
That's
And
funny.
I love it. And the thing is, this is why I love it. Because you can feel it as it goes. You can
You feel
literally
it.
feel it.
Yes, it
flows
destroys your
through
body.
your body. Well, maybe it is.
I don't know.
Look,
I don't know why, but it definitely has an impact. I mean, look, I used to drink all that shit, man. When I was in the bar industry, I drank, dude, Goldschlager, freaking Everclear.
I went through a Schlager stage.
Everyone went through a Schlager because it was popular.
It was very popular.
Jaeger was popular.
Jaeger, now that's a nightmare. That's a nightmare. But
Let's
the
do
thing is,
Jaeger
look,
bombs.
That's why you.
Exactly.
That's why you have to study. Look, I got to the point where I realized this. I'm gonna drink. I'm not compelled to do it. I don't wake up and feel an urge to drink. I like it. I want to. I don't need to. I can go days. It's been a week since I've had any tequila. I had no urges during that time.
Right.
I like it. I enjoy it. I told my son that. My son, we talked about alcohol. He's headed to college. I don't want anything to happen to him. I'm worried about, he's going to get there. He's so innocent. Somebody's going to start pumping him full of beer one night. He's going to drink some shots. Next thing you know, I'm going to be on the news because my son's going to be up in college and he's going to be laying in the bottom of a fraternity house and people ignored him and then he fucking dies, whatever. I don't want that to happen.
Right.
I see it on the news all the time. I had the conversation with him as sincerely as I could. He's like, I tried wine one time. I'm like, you're 18, man. You've tried wine one time. You had 2 glasses of wine your whole life. That's all you've ever had. You never drank a beer. He's never drank tequila. He's never drank anything. Look, I met people like that when I was in college. I'll never forget the most innocent girl I ever saw in my life. I was a junior in college. This girl came. She was like the Miss whatever. She had accomplished all this. She was famous before she got to college. She had never drank anything. And I just remember seeing her about 3 months into college. And she was wasted every single time I saw her. Completely stumbling around, falling all over the place, slurring, throwing up. Nobody even wanted to be around. She went from being like the most famous person to being somebody that nobody even wanted to be around.
I never understood it. I knew people that were like that. That they were just, you just knew that person was always, I don't know. In their mind, they were the life of the party. In everyone else's mind, they didn't. Look, we don't need you at the party. Like, you're no fun.
Singing.
No one wants to take care of your ass when you get shit faced. Like, and I would go out and have fun, man. I mean, like I said, I was in the bar industry for many years, and I would go out. It takes a good bit of alcohol to make me like tipsy or even drunk. I've been drunk once in the last like probably 8 years. I got drunk probably a year and a half ago. We went out. I just wanted to go out with everybody. I'm always the DD. I always drive. I like to know that everyone gets home safe.
I didn't know they still had a DD.
That's me.
I didn't know they still had that.
I go out, and if we're going to be gone, if I know we're going to be at a place for like 3 or 4 hours, I'll have two drinks. That way I know at the end of the night, I'm good. I'm not at risk of myself, getting a DUI from blowing .0 fucking zero.
Have you had a DUI?
Never had one.
Have you ever been pulled for a DUI?
No. I've been pulled over for a fuckload of stuff. Never DUI. So thank God, because it's terrible. So I've known plenty of people that have had them. So I always would say, if we're going out, then I'll have 1 or 2, because I don't care. I don't need alcohol to have fun. I'll have fun regardless. I don't give a shit. I'll have 2 drinks. I know I've got 2 hours to go. I'm fine. By the end of the time we go, I'm good. So we went out. We were going to go to Buckhead and go dancing and stuff. It was just going to be a fun night. So I got us an Uber. I was like, we'll get an Uber there. We'll get an Uber home. And I brought a bottle of freaking champagne. I drank that before we left the house on my own. Dude, I love champagne. Oh, I'll kill champagne.
What?
Dude, champagne will fuck you up. Yeah, give me some cheap shit, dude. I don't care. I'll drink some champagne. We went out there and I had like 4 or 5 drinks out at the club. And man, I was just having fun. I remember going, this is it. I feel buzzed. I'm fucking buzzed. But we were at an Uber, so it was safe. And you know, I don't get hangovers and shit, but I just don't. It takes so much to get there. I don't want to even drink that. Like, I don't want to physically have to drink that much liquid to even feel that way.
Well, just so you know, as a man who studied, look, I used to wait Goldschlager, Jaeger. My friends and I used to do a shot called liquid cocaine.
Oh, I know all about liquid cocaine.
Liquid cocaine. Rumplemintz, Jaeger, 151. Which they don't even make anymore. It's illegal. They don't even make.
They don't make 151 anymore?
No, they can't make it.
Oh, what a shame.
151 is 151 proof.
Yeah.
75%
alcohol. Well, they had Everclear. Everclear was 90.
Well, Everclear is banned in most states.
Fuck.
When's the last time you saw Everclear?
I don't know. See, when I worked at the bar,
Everclear was 180 proof.
Yeah, no, Everclear was great. Alcohol. I made this shot at this bar.
Cap of alcohol. You could drink a cap of Everclear. The cap.
Dude,
we used to joke about that.
Let me tell you
the cap and get
what I would do. We had this shot at this bar that I was a bar manager at, and it was this little hole in the wall restaurant, and we came up with house drinks. I made one up because we'd always have people come in. They'd be like, I could drink whatever. So I'm gonna make a shot. It's gonna put your big ass on the ground. Right. And I made a shot called a tropical sunburn. That's what I called it. And it had a little splash of orange juice, a little splash of cranberry, made it nice and sunsetty, right? And then it had vodka, had Everclear, it had 151 in it, and I lit it on fire. Let me tell you something. The only way you could palate getting that down your throat was the orange juice and the cranberry juice. The other thing, I would send that motherfucker out flaming, and it will put you on it'll put you in tomorrow. Yeah. It was gross.
Okay.
Everclear is rough.
Yeah. All right. Somewhere out there, I don't know where it is. There's a video when I went to when I first moved up to New York. The people I worked with after about a month, whenever I go somewhere and work, for the first month, nobody talks to me at all. They get real curious and they're like, "Oh, who is this guy?" So when I was in New York, they took me out after about a month, and they took me to a place called Cheeseburger in Paradise, the last one in America. There used to be all over the place. Jimmy Buffett opened them up. They were a fast food restaurant based on Jimmy Buffett's
Yeah, I remember
Cheeseburger
that.
Paradise
Yeah.
song. There's only one left in the whole world. It's in Secaucus, New Jersey.
Okay.
So I went there with them, and they have some shot that they light on fire, and they're like, "We need to give this shot to Marshall. Marshall, you need to do this." So they bring out this shot. Whenever they're going to do it, they make the sirens go off in the place, and they light it on fire, and they carry it out to you. And I think there's like a couple of fire, the sparkling things come out.
Right.
And I did it, and there's a video of me, and I can tell you this: you drink it, by the time you can start out drinking it completely sober, you drink it, by the time you're finished with, you drink it to the end, you're drunk as shit, blackout drunk, from sober to black. It's more than a shot. It's not a drink. It is pure liquor, but it's a big, like, tub of liquor.
I don't know why people.
And there's a video of me, and they wanted to show it to me. They were like, "We need to show you the video of you do," and I was like, "I don't want to see it." Just like I don't watch what we do, because I don't want to see what I turn into.
No, this is fine. I get that though, man. Look, it's rough. It's rough out there. I told Megan last weekend. She went out and wanted to go have fun with people, and she can't drink. We dated for almost 2 years. She cannot drink alcohol. If she does, the next day she will be hungover all day. She'll have a headache. She'll be useless. She'll be depressed. She'll have all of these after effects from even a small amount of alcohol. And it may be something that's going on in her body that doesn't process it right or something. There's a reason it's happening. It's getting worse. But so that ended up happening. She went out and she had 2 drinks, and then Sunday she woke up at like 11:30 and she felt like shit and her body hurt, and it's like everything. Look, some people, you just can't do it, and it's okay. You don't have to. It's fine.
Well,
live your life. You don't have to party.
I've studied hangovers and what causes them and the problem and all that. And first of all, El Toro is a major culprit. The biggest problem, the reason your body gets hungover, is because of the overload. It's the sugar. It's not the alcohol. And most people, when they drink, especially people that don't drink all the time, especially people that aren't aware, they consume a tremendous amount of sugar with the alcohol that they're drinking. They drink juice. They drink with Coke. They drink with cranberry. They drink with orange juice. It's the sugar. You've overloaded your body with sugar. Your body can't process that sugar. It can't get rid of that sugar. And because your body can't get rid of that sugar, it dehydrates you. And the dehydration causes your brain, the veins in your brain, to contract. And that is what causes the hangover and the headache. If you hydrate yourself properly and just do shots, and that's what I do. I do shots. I don't
Mix it with a bunch of other shit. Yeah, I guess you could think that if you're drinking a bunch of mixed drinks, it's a lot of sugar. It's a lot of sugar.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Even beer has a lot of carbs.
Yeah, carbs. I wouldn't say it's sugar, but some beer depends on the beer.
And so that's the way your body functions. And so when you're after a night of drinking, like, again, you say that I can't drink a whole one of these. First of all, this will be gone in no time. And I'll still be functioning and I'll still be doing everything. But it's to avoid the hangover. Hydrate yourself before you go to sleep. Wake up, hydrate yourself. Most headaches, like I think it's 95% of headaches, not even alcohol related, are caused by dehydration.
Yeah, I see that. Dehydration's a big one. Which is crazy because she doesn't drink anything but water in her regular, like, everyday life. She won't drink soda. Okay. She doesn't drink juice. She drinks water all the time, which to me is so boring.
Which is why when alcohol interferes with her life,
right,
it is far more disruptive than it is because
that makes a lot of sense.
Alcohol is a diuretic.
Yeah,
and that what that means, not to be Mr. Professor, but what that means is your body processes more water to get it out of your body than it does that you're bringing in. So when you're any diuretic, caffeine is a diuretic, all of the things that you drink. I remember one time I was talking to a girl who was talking about a girl who had a headache. And she was like, well, so-and-so has a headache. And I said, well, she's probably dehydrated. And she goes, well, that's impossible. She's drinking coffee. And I said, well, coffee is a diuretic. And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, well, coffee causes you to process more liquid out of your body than you're ingesting to get it. So when you drink a diuretic, you're dehydrating yourself as you're ingesting liquids. And some people, that makes no sense, you know, and it doesn't. But there are diuretics. Alcohol is a diuretic. Alcohol requires you to, when you're processing alcohol, your body is going to put out more liquid to get it out of you than you're bringing in. So you're dehydrating yourself as you're ingesting liquids. And that's a diuretic. That's what it means. And look, I'm not like, this wasn't supposed to be Mr. Science thing. I'm just saying, in terms of my life, I like to have a buzz. I tried to talk to my son about that. I asked him, I was like, man, have you ever had a buzz? He's like, I've heard of people talk about it. And I'm like, dude, I'm going to tell you, this is the problem. The first time you experience it, you're going to enjoy it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just a little bit of, I don't know. It's just a different feeling. It's just a different life feeling that you get from it. You know, I get it. I understand the burn of tequila. I'm like, I can't just pound it. I laughed last year because the world shut down. Everyone's stuck inside. And the most influential man in social media and entertainment history, the freaking Dwayne Johnson, gets on Facebook and Instagram every night. The Rock. Every night, The Rock is up there with Terramana tequila, drinking tequila. And I'm like, he's going to turn half the planet into fucking tequila alcoholics because he's trying to sell this damn Terramana to the world every night.
He's trying to make a profit.
Well, he'd say, yeah, that's his tequila, Terramana tequila.
See, I'm not trying to make a profit.
I'll
be honest. I'll let you know. For anybody who thinks I'm endorsing El Toro because I get anything from it, I don't.
No, he was out there drinking his Terramana, you know, the Rock's brand tequila.
Wow.
I get it, but I was just laughing. I'm like, how many people watch him every night? Now they're like, I bought a bottle just because it was his. I don't even drink it.
Right.
But I'm like, that's cool. I've got Conor McGregor's whiskey. I bought the Rock's tequila. I'm like, that's cool to have. But then I'm thinking like, oh, look at all these people drinking tequila. Like they probably don't normally drink tequila. And now he's out there drinking it and then promoting it. I'm like, just created a whole world of alcohol.
I'll just say this in this segment and we'll move on to something else. Because I have a question I want to ask you after this. But I'll just say this. I don't think anybody makes a commission off of El Toro. I believe El Toro is its own standalone product that is made by some guys who are barely functioning in society. I believe the guys that make El Toro, that conceived of El Toro, I can see like a group of dudes just sitting around a room and they're like, we got to make a tequila that we can drink all day, every day, whether we have money or not. We don't want an expensive tequila. We don't want a quality tequila. We want a tequila that barely qualifies as tequila. And they came up with El Toro.
El Toro.
Nobody makes any money from it. There is no profit involved.
There's just enough to make another bottle of El Toro.
It's just enough to buy.
Maybe not. Maybe it's just enough to make a little bit less than we had before. And we continue. The supply is getting lower and lower every day. Right. They're like, who keeps buying this? We didn't have that much. Marshall's buying.
I am singularly supporting the El Toro.
You are.
Company.
They're like, there's one man. We must find it. Yes. We find it.
All right. So I got a question for you.
Okay.
Now that we're off that topic.
All right.
Because, by the way, I pray that my son never watches that segment.
That's funny.
I don't want him to know that's part of my life.
That's right.
All right. So when I texted you about when were we going to do the next episode, because we both had our huge recovery time. I knew we both needed it, man. There's no doubt. You get stale in life, not here.
Oh no, just life, man.
And I wanted to know what you said you had come up with some ideas of some things that you wanted to do. And I want us to share those back and forth because I have some ideas as well. Go ahead.
Oh, well, I was talking about I had some topics that I wanted to touch on.
Critical shit?
Yeah, a little bit of critical shit for
Okay.
sure.
Sure.
Because and I'd sent you a couple videos to I don't know if you watched them, but you're killing me.
It's so hard, man. It's
You're
so hard for me to do that.
Yeah,
I tried.
they're important,
Look, I will say this, honest to God. First couple ones that you sent to me, I said to myself, I was like, all right, don't, because I get sent videos, I get sent shit all the time, and I ignore it. And when you sent them to me, the first couple ones, I genuinely watched them. Some of them, not to completion, but pretty close. I guess. I don't know when they ended, but I watched them for a long time. And it's just not me. I just can't do it. My ex-wife gave me a project she wanted me to complete for my son for his high school graduation. She sent it to me 3 years ago. It was 50 questions, and she wanted me to answer these 50 questions and write essays in this. She sent me the notebook. She sent me pen set. She sent me all this stuff she wanted me. And I am motivated to make my son's life better. 50 questions. I read the 50 questions. I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it.
Well, I sent you ones
videos.
that I wanted you to watch because of the topic that he was talking
Well,
about.
I read a
with
lot.
Meat Kevin's, right?
So
Yeah,
if the
maybe I could
topic
find
is
it.
out there,
Maybe I could find a way to find that. Well, the one thing I did a video on it myself on the regular podcast that I do, and I called out the guy that I sent you the video of, Kevin Pathrath, who's running for governor of California. I called him out, and I didn't put it out there. Look, I put it out there as kind of a clickbait segment, but I want to call him out because Newsom has a thing happening called the COVID vaccine lottery. And what he's doing is they're going to give 10 people who get a vaccine $1.5 million in a lottery. They're going to give
so
15 people.
If you go get vaccinated,
You're in the lottery.
You're in the lottery.
Yes, you're in the lottery
All right.
to a chance to win a $1.5 million. They're also going to give 15 people $50,000 who get vaccinated. Then they're also going to give 2 million people who get vaccinated $50 gift cards. So Governor Newsom is going to spend over $116 million of the budget just giving it to people. Right now, I argue this. Who get vaccinated? I argue this. $50 is fuck all. Look, no one's going to wake up tomorrow and be like, thank God I got $50 fucking dollars. That's not helping. Look, that's not doing anything for anybody. Let's be honest.
So how many? Wait, how many of the $50 ones is?
2 million.
Give away 2
That's
million.
$100 million.
So he's spending $100 million to get people vaccinated.
Yes, up to 2 million people.
Okay, go ahead.
Then he's going to take 10 people out of the vaccination pool. They're going to be entered to win $1.5 million.
10 people are getting 1.5.
Yep. And 15 people are going to get 50,000, which is another 1.5 million. So my question is,
Fair enough.
you have $116 million to help people. And you decided to really help 25 people. Because $50 amongst 2 million people is fuck all. Look, if someone gave you $50 right now,
Fair enough.
that's not changing your life.
Let's think about what's really happened. Look, whenever I hear stories like this, and this is why I want to do this. This is exactly why I want to do.
Let me preface this before you start.
Go ahead.
What makes it very disturbing to me is that they're going to spend $116 million. Right. They're going to give that to people in a state where homelessness and suffering from homelessness and joblessness, because it's been closed for so long, is such a pandemic in itself.
Those problems were existing.
The problem did exist, but look at how much worse it is. And you've decided to take money that could ultimately, what could you do with $116 million to affect the lives of a lot of Californians? But let's not.
Let's be honest about what is real, and this is where this show is valuable. This is where we have value to the world, because this is what I'm about to make sure people understand. When somebody spends How much is he spending?
$116 million.
When somebody spends $116 million, anybody, doesn't matter who it is, but in this case, it's the governor of California. The reason that he's spending $116 million is because somebody is going to make $1 trillion from what he's doing. And what you need to look at is how much is each one of those vaccinations costing to whoever is paying for it, because they're free to us. I know this about vaccination. You can go get vaccinated. There's signs up on the side of the road, just like there used to be signs saying, we'll take care of your lawn. Now there's signs on the side of the road, little stake signs that say, come in and get vaccinated. And when they're letting you come in and get vaccinated, you're getting vaccinated for free. You don't have to put any money out. But let me assure you, somebody is paying for that vaccination. So this guy's spending $116 million to try to get people vaccinated. And let's be clear, he doesn't want to get the number of people vaccinated that he's going to reward for getting vaccinated. He wants the number of people to be vaccinated to be way, way, way higher than the number of people that he's rewarding to be vaccinated. You're going into a lottery.
Right.
Let's be clear about what a lottery is.
Yeah.
When you're in a lottery, your chances of winning are almost zero.
Right.
Because they're trying to get a lot of people to put money in so that one or two people, or in this case, a handful of people, can be rewarded. So he wants everybody. They want you to get vaccinated. And let me tell you why they want you to get vaccinated. Because the government made a promise to all these companies that made these vaccines, that spent all of 8 months putting them together.
Right.
Okay, 8 months. There's no vaccine out there that has been clearly proven through the time that it is required for a vaccine to be proven. There's not one that has proven to be safe, because we have no earthly idea what the long-term effects of any of these vaccines are. There's no way you can tell me that we do. The reason they do studies is because they need to know the long-term effects. Right. They need to know what is going to happen to you, not right after you got the shot, not within a couple weeks of you getting the shot, not within a couple months of you getting the shot. They need to know what's going to happen to you 3 years from you getting the shot.
Right.
5 years from you getting the shot. A decade from you getting the shot. That's why they don't have a vaccine for AIDS. That's why they don't have a vaccine for cancer, even though those things have been around forever. So what the governor of California is now doing is he's putting $116 million down and trying to get every single person he can to get that vaccine. Because every time they put that vaccine into somebody's body, there's a company out there that is paid by the government, whatever it is that company has asked for by the government. They said, hey, government, we've got a vaccine. We tested it for 3 weeks on 100 people that could potentially have COVID. What did we do to them? We can't explain that. That's top secret. We're a pharmaceutical company. We can't explain what we actually did.
Right.
Nobody understands the process. It's too complicated. But this vaccine is fine. It's
ready.
Acceptable. It's ready to go.
It's ready. Put it in them.
And
Let them up.
the government has put out so that everyone is aware, billions of dollars to these companies. There are executives of these companies who have become billionaires for forming these vaccines.
Right.
And the reason they became billionaires for forming these vaccines is because the government is paying them for every single one of them that they put into a human being. And in California, the light might have burned out, bro. Did they burn out?
It's kind of crazy.
That's all right.
Maybe.
Sometimes,
We'll figure it out.
hey, maybe the
still got
United States government is fucking
Yeah, they're
watching what
listening.
we're doing,
They're like, hey, man.
and they're like, "Hey, man, this
We'll just
guy's
boost this one up.
revealing some truth."
Come back to that.
But I'm just saying, for real, you have to look at somebody out there, and this is what I promise you: if he's putting out $116 million, somebody's making $500 million, maybe $1 billion on just the message alone. And then somebody on top of the message alone, on top of the billion, is going to be making $500 billion on putting that vaccine into all those people's bodies. And the people that are paying for that, the money is coming from the essential workers, the people who actually do the things in this society that produce the things that we actually need: food, fuel, healthcare, you name it. Whatever there is out there that we actually need, not advertising, not television, not production, not podcasts, things we need to live. The people that produce those things that we suddenly went from calling essential workers to what are we calling them now?
I don't
what
know.
Are they now?
It's a good question because the essential worker thing kind of just people just
Disappeared.
stopped saying it. We were just like, well, now you're just fucking
Right.
back to work at Quick
signs,
Trip.
the signs are gone.
They're gone. They're
Thank
not
you for
heroes
being a hero.
anymore.
Thank you for being a hero. That's gone. It's gone. Doesn't
Yeah.
even exist.
No,
They're
you're
gone.
right. It is gone.
So
now it's just kind of wear a mask.
And so if he's putting out 116 million, the only reason you put out 116 million, any investment, man, look, I always trace the money because that's what motivates everybody else in the world besides me. And that's what allows me to see things in a different way. That's the only reason I can see things differently than other people. The only reason is because I don't give a shit about money. And I know that everyone else gives a shit about money. And so I watch when I see something happening. I always ask myself, who's making money off of this? Somebody. So if he's putting out 116 million, the reason that he's happily doing it is because there's a company out there that's going to make $100 billion from him putting out that message, and it's going to trickle back to him so that he ain't putting out $116 million and just saying, here's $116 million, we're giving this out to y'all. No differently than the lottery. Look, if people knew what the lottery brought in versus what the lottery puts out, lottery, it sounds great. Look, you're like, man, this guy won $500 million. Yes, but the lottery people took in $500 million.
Right. And then once you win that 500 million, guess who gets like 40% of it?
Sure.
Back to the government.
Yeah, right.
Back to your
Dude,
taxes.
You ain't getting that. Look, when a guy wins $500 million in the lottery, he's getting a check for like $220 million. If you're like, okay, I won $500 million in the lottery, I'll take the one-time payment.
Right.
I'll take the cash out payment. And they're like, okay, you're gonna get $220 million. He's like, wow, that's a lot, but fuck it, $220 million's a lot of money.
Right.
I'll take it. And then next year, you're gonna get taxed on the $220 million that's sitting in your bank account. Or
That's
by the
right.
way, you're gonna get taxed on every nickel that you spend of that money.
How crazy is it to think that, all right, let's just say it was 500 million, it's an easy number, right? So the government wants to collect taxes on $500 million. Easiest way to do it is have everyone put into a lottery. One person will pay all the taxes.
Sure.
All right, so
Keep
500
track
million.
of-
They're like,
keep-
all right, well, it's
keep track
300
of-
million to
Yeah.
us.
Go to any convenience store in the South. And before you can pay for your gas, you got to wait for three dudes that are putting
Buy a line of
all
tickets.
of their money. And by the way,
Yeah.
me and my kid, we used to do the lottery. We used to do the scratch offs.
Yeah.
Whenever we were together, whenever we hung out, we would buy $20 worth of scratch offs. I thought that was a lot of money to be putting into.
Oh,
the lottery.
yeah.
But we would stand in line behind people that were putting $100, $200, and you would look at them and be like, dude, you ain't got $200 to be putting into the lottery. You got 6 kids in that car, bro.
Right.
What you doing putting $200 into the lottery?
I did it a few times. I YOLO'd some lottery tickets before. I've been like, you know what? It's $1 billion. Let's just buy $200 worth. I mean, that's a small price to pay for maybe $2 billion.
You've increased your odds.
I mean,
I put in $200.
You have increased your odds by 12. But then you look at the back of it, it's like, oh, your chance of winning is 1 in 6. All right, well, that's just winning a prize. We could win your $10 back. It's 1 in 6, a free ticket or whatever. So buy 6 tickets, get 6 losers. Nothing makes you feel more like a fucking moron than buying 10 lottery tickets and winning 0 anything.
Sure. Makes you feel like an idiot.
Instant regret.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
don't even
I used to think, and I went through times, man, where I had nothing, bro. I mean, I had nothing. And I would have my son, and I would have a couple of bucks, scrape together a couple bucks. I'd talk to my ex, I'd be like, hey, man, can I get him for a couple of days or a couple hours? I go pick my son up. He was young. He didn't know anybody. He didn't know.
Right.
He didn't even know I was his dad. My son didn't even know I was his dad until he was like 10. He just thought I was a dude that came by that was a friend of his mother's that picked him up once in a while. He told me that one day. I asked him, I was like, do you know why I come and pick you up every week? He's like, well, you're a friend of mommy's. I was like, no, man, there's more to it than that.
Yeah. It's,
Right.
well, how many friends does mom have?
Right. Like, hold on. Are other dudes coming by and picking you up? Taking you away?
Yeah, wait a second.
So, no, man, he didn't know. He had no idea. So, but I would put together a couple bucks, and I always thought, I'd be like, I've got my son with me. I need money so badly. God's going to look out for me. I'm going to go to the store. We're going to buy lottery tickets together. We would buy lottery tickets together. And I'd spend like $50 on scratch offs. And we'd scratch them all off in like seconds. They'd be scratched off in like 30 seconds. We'd have them all scratched off. I'd be like, all right, we won $10. We put in 50, we won 10. So we put the 10 back into another group of tickets and we would do it. And next thing you know, all of our money is gone. Now I'm sitting there with like $5. I'm like, all right, we can go get hot dogs. And then I'm going to have to take you home. And I'm just saying, man, look, $116 million, going back to what you were saying, they ain't spending $116 million because they're going to get $116 million back. Somebody's ready to put up $116 million because they know when they put up that $116 million, they're going to be able to put those injections into countless number of people who, now you and I scoff at it. We scoff at $50. We're like, oh man, who's going to care about $50? I can promise you that I know many people that would put a shot into their body for $50. Many people that would put a shot into their body for $50. They're like, oh, what?
I don't know what to drop. I'm sorry.
They're like, all I got to do is put a shot into my body. I get $50. I'll do it. I don't care. Where's my $50? But somebody, when you put that shot into them, is making probably $2,000 to $3,000 per shot. And I know you're like, come on, man, somebody's making $3,000 a shot.
Who knows, honestly?
What are they charging for a shot of the diabetic drug insulin?
Yeah, insulin. Yeah, it's
what do they charge for?
I don't know.
$800.
I don't know how much insulin shots are.
Look up what an insulin shot is. You know how much it costs? You know how much it costs to produce insulin? I know how much it costs. I know how much it costs.
Oh, let's see. Study one vial of human insulin costs $2.28 to $3.42 to produce.
To produce, right?
Yeah,
less than $5 to produce.
Right, and then
What does it
monthly
cost?
monthly current cost, one vial of 50/50. These patients would spend $780 to $1,170 on their insulin every month.
How much?
It's $780 to $1,170 a month.
$1,170.
And that is
and it
per
costs
month,
them
sometimes
$3
requiring
to make.
6 or more vials.
You want to know why they can do that? You want to know why they can do that? Because there's people who die without it.
Yeah, you'll die without it.
Yeah. And if you don't have it, you'll die. And there are people on the internet who will put out a notice that says, I cannot get my insulin. I am about to die. Can you help me? In America, there are Americans.
And that's crazy.
And we are the country that right now is celebrating our freedom that people have given us by dying in war. We sent them off. The same people that are charging us $800 to $1,100 for insulin, that are okaying that are approving that.
Right.
Because they can't, when there's a drug like that, let's be clear, they can't charge that amount of money without the approval of the government. So the government looks at the fact that they produce it for $3.
Oh, yeah.
And they say,
it's
you
okay
produce
that
it
you
for
can
$3.
sell it for this much.
Oh yeah, you can sell it for $1,100.
Yeah.
And these are the things that are happening in the world that we're living in, where we think, and there are people within that world that think, back to what we talked about on the very first broadcast, that think $7.25 an hour is perfectly acceptable for a human being to earn. And I can assure you, a lot of the people that are earning $7.25 an hour need a shot of insulin.
Yeah. No, you're right. You are right.
So I'm glad we brought up the first one. And by the way, from now on, you bring them all up. I've got mine, but I'm gonna keep them to myself.
You can't keep them all to yourself.
No, man.
That's no fun.
Well,
I pay attention to some stuff, and other stuff I'm like, that's just not, I'm not interested. Like I go through, I'll sit up here at night and I'll do the regular TMF podcast, and I'll just go through the news. And honestly, most of it's just death. And I'm just like, God, why? I mean, it's every day. It's every day there's a shooting, there's people out there just murdering each other for no reason at all. And I'm like, I don't even want to talk about any of this. This is just enabling it to be up. I don't know.
well, and that's why, for me personally, I don't know what our sources are. What I try to do is I try to look at what the majority of people are talking about. Like, I'll tell you
what they're talking about right now. Right now, today, they're talking about something that happened 100 years ago. Yep, the Tulsa race
I studied a little
massacre
bit. I read about it.
thing, and even Joe Biden said in his speech, "Oh, we have to do something." Look, you do have to do something about racism in the country, but we do not have to do something about racism that happened in a singular event 100 years ago. That event is over. We're not doing that event anymore. You need to adapt your policy and your narrative to what's happening today, not what happened 100 years ago.
Fair enough.
They're talking about compensation for victims
Well,
100 years ago.
okay. Well, look, and I've told you this before. Whenever there's something that happens in the world, and I hear about a group that's been oppressed or a group that has been wronged, I try to think of myself being part of that group. I don't think of myself as being just an outside observer. I think, what if I was one of those people? And I don't know what happened that night. Clearly,
I don't either.
I wasn't there, but this is what I understand happened. There was an area of Tulsa where there were some people that were thriving economically. They had figured out a way among the system.
And to
be
preface
successful.
this is in 1921. So this is Great Depression time. Great Depression, June 1st, 1921. That's in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which Tulsa is not, it's by no means New York City or LA. It's not a
But
prominent
you know what they
place.
called the area where these people were living?
Yeah, they called it Black Hollywood or something.
Black Wall Street.
Black Wall Street. There you go, Black Wall Street.
They
Yeah.
called it Black Wall
Right.
Street. And there were people that were living there who had come literally from all over the country because they heard there was a place where black people were prosperous
Right.
and they wanted to be a part of it. And I don't even necessarily know that they wanted to be a part of the prosperous part. They just wanted to be treated with respect.
Right.
You know, they were like, oh, okay, black people are being successful there. I'd like to be there. We're not successful where we are now. Let's go.
Right.
And then whatever triggered it that night, I don't know what. Apparently there was a kid that was accused of rape. He was being jailed. They were worried about what was going to happen to him if he was in jail. And so a group of people then formed to go down to the jail to protect him. They put guns. They gathered as much guns as they had. They're like, we're going to go down and make sure this guy is, because here's what happened back in the day. There was no trial. If a black kid was accused of raping a white woman, they put him in jail overnight.
Right.
Before the night was over, a group of men with guns showed up at the jail. The cops gave them no resistance. They walked into the jail. They grabbed the kid out of the jail and they hung him or burned him or mutilated him. And so this group of people from this successful area, affluent area, black affluent, whatever a black affluent meant. I mean, I don't have pictures of what their houses looked like. I'm sure they weren't mansions. I'm sure they were just normal
decent
houses.
house, yeah.
They lived in a decent place with a decent standard of living. And they just said, not tonight. You're not taking this guy.
Right.
We're going to, if you want to accuse him of this crime, you're going to have to take him to trial. We're going to go down to the courthouse. We're going to defend him. And then
here,
white guys, and you look, man.
It says here 75 armed black men returned to the courthouse shortly after 10, where they were met by some 1,500 white men.
Right.
Who all some carried
Because you can
weapons.
imagine if you've been in a small town. I've lived in small towns. I know what small towns are like. You can imagine if these, all they had to do back then in 1921 was spread the word among that town that a bunch of armed black guys are about to show up at the courthouse. We got to go down there and we got to kill those black guys. And I'm sure they didn't use the term black guys. And so they got all the guns they had. They got all the ammo that they had. They piled in all the trucks that they had. And they drove down to that courthouse. And they were not satisfied that they shot and killed the 75 guys that came and defended that guy.
Yeah.
They needed to do more than that. They wanted to send a message. Look, man, I've been up against those odds. I know what those odds are like. The reason that I live my life the way that I do is because I started out always being against everyone around me. And I know how people gather in groups and start agreeing with each other that they've got to take you out. That started when I was 3 years old. I faced my first injustice when I was 3 years old. I remember it clear as day. I remember how I reacted to it, and I remember how people responded to me. And I'm saying that I understand why people back then gathered together in a group and said, we're tired of this shit.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is that the people on both sides feel some kind of right on either end. That is the end game of war.
What do you think happened that night?
I have no idea. I have no idea what happened. Somebody, look, It's what happens in every situation where you have a group of people who oppose another group of people. You have people that show up, and you've got a couple guys on either side, a couple people who are gung ho, ready to throw down.
1,500 to 75.
15. Well, that's estimated 1,500. Dude, could you look outside and tell me what 1,500 people looks like?
No, but
No,
but,
could have
but
been
I, but I,
500
but I
people.
can, but I can, but
It's a
I
lot.
Can,
It's a lot of
I can
fucking
definitely
people.
look outside. I know what 15 to 1 looks like.
You know, that's fair. 15 to 1. It wasn't quite 15 to 1, but you know,
No, it's
it
more
is
than,
more than that.
If it's 1,500 to 75, it's more than
15 to 1. Right. So, but you got amongst that group of people, you've got people that are going to show up that are just there and they're in the back and they hope nothing happens. And then you've got people that show up that hope someone starts something. Nah.
You gotta live in 2020. You gotta
Nah, I
live
don't
in
think so.
1920.
I don't know, man.
1920. You gotta live in 1920. Think about 1920 Oklahoma. Think about it. No, for real.
Well, I don't even know what 2020 Oklahoma
Right,
looks like.
right.
Besides street
I've been to
racing.
Oklahoma. I've been to Oklahoma. I've been to Oklahoma.
But I mean,
Oklahoma's
you
a
know,
good
they
place.
show up there, and what are you going to do? You're going to wipe. Obviously, they did. They wiped out a lot of like 1,200 homes. They burned this place to the ground. A lot of people died on both sides, and
Dude,
it was.
let's be
it's
clear.
crazy.
Let me tell you what happened, because I'm good. I'm good at understanding without being there. I'm good at it. I'm real good at it. That's my strength. I've always been able to do that. That's been my power. God gave me a tiny bit of power in the world. He made me be able to understand things when I wasn't there, when I couldn't hear, when I couldn't see for myself. He gave me the power of interpretation. I'm gonna tell you what happened that night. I'm gonna give you y'all wanna tune in to the Free as Fuck podcast. You wanna understand what free as fuck means? This is what free as fuck means. I'm gonna give you what happened that night.
All right, let's hear it.
I'm gonna give you what happened that night. There were a group of people sitting in their house, and somebody grabbed their kid and took him down to the courthouse. They walked into their house, they grabbed their son, and they said, "Your son raped a white girl, and we're arresting him, and we're taking him down to the courthouse." And the people inside that house said, "Holy shit, they're going to kill our son tonight." And they spread the word among the small group of people in the world that had the tiniest bit of ability to fight back. And they said, "Not tonight. Tonight's where we make our stand. Tonight we're going to fight back. We're not letting our kid get killed without a trial. We want to see him at least have a trial. So we're going to go down to the courthouse and we're going to stand outside of it and we're going to protect him from being murdered before his trial." On the other side, they said, "Oh, they think they're going to stop us? Spread the word. There's a bunch of black people getting guns coming down to the courthouse. So we're going to go down to the courthouse and we're going to show them what justice means." And so they got all their friends and they got all their ammo, and they said they think they're coming down to the courthouse to protect him. We're going to show them what we can do. They called their friend with an airplane. And they're like, "We're not just going to kill this kid. We're going to kill all the people that show up to defend him. And then when we're done killing all the people that showed up to defend him, we're going to go through that town and we're going to burn every one of their fucking houses to the ground." And I wasn't there to defend them in 1921, but I'm here to defend them in 2021. And I can promise you that if you grab somebody now and accuse them of a crime that they may or may not have committed, you better put them through a trial. You're not going to kill them on the spot anymore. That's what they just got through doing up in Minnesota. Because the mentality of the police has been, if we think a black guy committed a crime, it's okay for us to just kill him on the spot. And nobody's going to do shit about it.
Do you think that's what happens now? Do you think that's what happened? Do you think that's the mentality of police currently? That they would think that it's okay, that they get up every day and go to work and think that it's okay to do that?
I don't think that they wake up in the morning. I don't think anybody wakes up in the morning wanting to commit violence. I don't.
But do they justify it in their head based on race?
I think that they enter a scenario, they're called to a scene, they make an assessment of what they think may have happened, and they make an assessment of what they believe is going to be an acceptable level of violence. And they say to themselves, I can commit this level of violence against this perpetrator, and I will get away with it.
I don't think that's what it is.
I know you
think-
don't. I know you don't.
And that's why we have this
Look, I know you
conversation,
don't.
because
I know you don't.
I
know you
think it's
don't agree.
this. I think it's this. I think they show up to a scene and they do assess. They assess the situation when they show up, right? And then I think they have in their mind, they have three ways that this plays out. A, this person gets control of me. Let's just say it's a potentially violent encounter. Potentially violent, not inherently violent. Let's just say the person.
All right. Well, then
we're going to set up a scene.
Let's go current. Because let's go George Floyd. Let's go George Floyd, because that's real world.
I don't want to use George Floyd for one reason only. There was no shooting. It was different.
Exactly, but no, but let's look at that because, dude, the guy.
Yeah, but I want to say this because how about this? Let's go to the other guy, Andrew Brown, the guy that shot in his car, fleeing. Okay,
Which guy?
He got shot in his car. He was shot like 3 times. I think 2 in the arm. One of the bullets hit him in the back of the head, killed him. They went to arrest him at his house. And he got in his car and said, "Not today, motherfuckers," and was going to just drive off in his vehicle. He didn't say that, but I mean, he was leaving. He was like, "I'm not going with y'all. I'm leaving." And the cops opened fire on his vehicle as it left, ended up striking him and killing him. But either way,
All right, go ahead.
I want to say,
All right, I don't
only
know
want to
this story, but
okay.
I'll debate this.
I don't. It doesn't even have to be this particular. What I'm saying is when they because mine is a generic narrative.
No.
When they show up to a scene,
Let's
they
use
have.
real world.
I feel like they have 3 methods of which this thing is going to go down. We have. We're going to go up there and talk to you, and everything's going to be okay. We're either going to diffuse the situation. You do, because if you have. All right, let me finish. Then I will address.
I will.
We're going to diffuse the situation.
I'm gonna listen.
Because not every police encounter ends in death or arrest. We're going to diffuse the situation. That's one. That's the best case scenario.
Why were the cops arresting him?
Well, I'll come back to that. Let me go through the 3 things that I think happened.
Okay.
They're going to diffuse the situation. Nobody gets hurt. Everyone goes home. This guy was out of line. Whatever. He may or may not have. Let's just say it was a petty crime. Whatever it was. He didn't fuck with us. We talked about it. It's a big misunderstanding. Scenario 1, best case scenario, probably happens all the time because police interact with people way more than we ever hear about on a daily basis of all races. Scenario number 1. Scenario number 2 is this person is agitated because they're being accused of a crime they may or may not have committed. If they didn't commit it, they're agitated because they don't want to be told that they've just done something they didn't do. And if they did do it, they don't want to get caught. So they're agitated, and they're not going to be like, "Yeah, I fucking did." They never go, "Yeah, I fucking did it." Right? They're like, "I didn't fucking do that shit." So they're mad. Either way, they're mad because and it's escalated. Now the police have, all right, well, we can hopefully just get you to put your hands behind your back. We can handcuff you. We can put you in the car. We don't have to hit you. We don't have to do anything violent. And everyone we're going to come with me. We're going to figure it out. That also does happen. It does.
Sure.
I know it does happen.
Sure. No,
Okay.
I'm still
Now-
with you. I'm biting my tongue.
Now,
I'm agreeing.
The last scenario of which I see happen too often is the person that they're going there. They arrive at the scene. This person is posing some kind of threat to either them or the people around them that they perceive, a perceived threat. May be imminent, may not be imminent. In which case, their training and their belief of protecting themselves, the people around them, comes down to one of two things, and most of the time, one thing. I have a gun. I have a gun with bullets. You either comply or I have this. These are my choices. You stop. I have this. That's it. And tasers, look, I've seen them tase the shit out of people who got up and still went after motherfuckers.
I've been tased.
Knifed them. Some guys go down like a sack of rocks.
I ain't
Other
going
guys
down. I ain't going
don't go
down.
down at all.
You can tase
And
me
they,
all
you
you
know,
want. I ain't going down.
some of them,
I ain't going down.
it's like Jason Statham and Crank, and
I
they're
ain't
like,
going
let's
down.
effing
I ain't
go.
going down and taser.
Right? So
Have
the
you ever been
taser
tased? Let me-
is whatever.
Have
So
you ever been tased?
I've never been tased, but I imagine they don't feel great, and it's either gonna wake
I will just
wake
say
something
that-
up in your ass.
all right, well then,
or whatever.
I'm going to say
So-
this on the Free as Fuck broadcast real quick. You've been, and I'll let you keep going. I've been tased probably 6 times. I never felt it.
I mean, and
It
that
never
happens.
impacted my behavior in the slightest.
And
like,
that's
like
why I'm
each
saying-
time somebody tased me, I was like, "That's it."
Right, and that's why I'm saying
Okay, so
they
go
have
ahead,
one of
go
two
ahead, go
options,
ahead,
and the
go ahead.
taser
No,
option's
no,
really
no.
not an option because
All right.
I don't think that
All right.
any cop believes
Well,
the taser will stop them. So that leaves in their training. We've got only this gun. This is all that's left to do whatever we've got to do, and
All right.
unfortunately, that shouldn't be how it is. But they don't look. If someone's got a knife, they're very dangerous, whether they know how to use the knife or not. Knives are extremely dangerous weapons. If someone wants to harm you, a knife, it oftentimes is worse than a gun, because you can close a gap with a knife, and you can fuck somebody up with a knife real
I
quick.
get it.
And then
Yeah, I'm
they've got a
listening, I'm
gun.
listening.
So it comes down to, I don't think they ever wake up thinking like, all right, we're going to do violence. I think that they go from, we're going to approach the scene and we all want to make it out of here alive and everyone okay. From 0 to, I just shot this person. They go from 0 to that almost immediately, because there is no middle ground for them. And that is a lack of training, and it's a lack of people that shouldn't be doing that fucking job to
All right,
begin with.
well then,
It's a lot
all
of
right,
things. But
all
I
right.
do not believe that the majority, which is, I'm even going to put majority as 95% plus police, believe that today when I get up, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to kill a black guy.
All right. Well, first of all, I'm going to agree with that. I don't think that the majority of any human beings wake up in the morning and want to kill anybody. I'm going to agree with that. I don't think that's disputable. I would ask you this. How many times have you been arrested?
About
Honestly.
probably, I would try to say no less than 10.
No less than 10?
Yeah, I'm going to say probably no less than 10 times. I'm going to say, I'm trying to think back.
20
'cause it's
times?
No, not 20 times. Maybe
15?
10, 12 times.
All right. I've been arrested probably 100 times. So I have a lot of arrest experience.
How many times have you been shot? by cops?
Shot at, or
Shot by
actually
cops.
hit.
Shot by cops
I've
while being arrested.
never been shot,
Okay.
but I've been abused by them plenty. And this is what I think. First of all, you left out one scenario out of your 3 scenarios.
Okay.
He left out the scenario where the dude ain't doing nothing.
Okay. The dudes, when
The
they
dude-
show up and the
they
guys
show
doing
up
nothing.
and the dude's just like, man, I ain't doing shit.
Okay.
I ain't involved, but somehow I'm involved.
Right. Someone else has involved you
Y'all think that
via
I'm
description
doing some
or some shit.
I ain't
Right.
doing shit.
Right. I get you.
You left out that
Fair.
one scenario. So I would just say that what I wish would happen is, and I ain't casting blame, man. Even on the cops that have arrested me. All right, whatever, man. Look, I know what it's like to be pulled over on the side of the road with a car full of black people and have them treat me differently than if I was pulled over by myself.
I will argue this on that because, and only because,
I'll give you an
only
example.
because
I'll give
that's
you a
fine.
live example.
Yeah, but here's my only problem with that in any of these examples across the board is that
I'll give you an example
it's
that you
never
won't believe.
an apple to an apple, because you got pulled over with a car full of black people. You could have been pulled over with a car full of cocaine. You could have been pulled
Right.
over with
Black
freaking
people are
Donald
not
Trump.
cocaine.
But
Black
the
people
problem-
are not cocaine.
No, they're not. I'm just saying different. You could have been pulled over with anybody. You could have
No,
the Prince
you got
of
Donald
England.
Trump in your car. You can be driving a different car. I'll
Right,
give you an example. I'll give you an example.
Here's
I'll
the
give you an
problem.
example.
This is the problem. It's a different cop every time.
Okay, well, I'm going to give you an example of getting pulled over. When I was in Richmond, Virginia, I worked for a temporary staffing company. And there was a morning that I needed to get like 12 of our employees to the job at 5 o'clock in the morning. The only way for me to make sure that those guys made it to the job. And I was the manager of the branch. I had a big executive. I was making big money. The only way for me to make sure those guys were going to make it to the job was for me to show up at the branch, put those guys in a van, and drive them to the van and shake the hand of the supervisor and say, here are your 12 employees. They are here today. We had to book about 25 guys to make sure that 10 guys showed up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I pulled up at the branch about 4:30 in the morning, and I sat there with a van, and slowly over the course of the next half hour, and I waited until 5:15 because I knew many of them would not be on time. I watched the van fill up with guys. And they just strolled up and got in the van, strolled up and got in the van, strolled up and got in the van, strolled up and got in the van. We made it 1 block. We had not done anything wrong. And the cop lit us up. And I'm looking in the back and I'm like, man, this was back in 1994, 95.
Okay.
The guys in the back were like, Marshall, you ain't got no weed on you. I'm like, I ain't got no weed on me. Have y'all got any weed on y'all?
Right.
I got 15 motherfuckers I barely know in the back of a van. Y'all wondering if I got weed on me. Have y'all got weed on y'all?
I don't know any of you guys.
So look, we're lit up. Within 2 minutes, 4 more cops showed up and surround us. I'm driving these guys to a job 10 minutes from where we met.
All right, so before the other cops had shown up, the first cop had gotten out and came up and said something to you. He knew there was a bunch of people in the van. He knows there's a bunch of people in the van. It's got windows, I presume, like it's a regular transport van.
Yeah, it's
right.
They're not tinted.
Right. It's just a regular van. Right. So this cop shows up, sees approximately 10 to 20 people in a van. He realizes that if under any circumstances this shit goes wrong, I'm severely outnumbered, regardless of what the situation may be.
Fair enough.
Okay.
But we're all compliant
Right.
to everything.
Yeah.
Within 30 seconds of us being pulled over, we are all on the sidewalk, face down. This is the 90s, bro.
Right.
This ain't no We got rights. We got nothing. We ain't seen videos of cops beating people.
Yeah, this is
Nothing.
like a couple years after
This was
Rodney
the
King, man.
90s. No, this was before Rodney King.
You said 95. I thought that Rodney King was in 94, 93, 92. It was early 90s.
I feel like it
Rodney
was
King was.
before, but
I mean, whatever. It
might
could have
have
been.
It was around that time.
Okay.
But we're in Richmond, Virginia, so we're not in like a big. So anyway, so look, so we're all on. Look it up. We're all on the side of on the sidewalk, face down on the sidewalk, laid out, all of us.
It's definitely after. Rodney King was 91.
Okay, it was after.
After, yeah.
It was after, because I was after. I graduated in '93. I had a job.
after. Yep. All right. So keep going.
So we're on the side of it. We're pulled over. 4 more. I mean, cops are showing up. It's 5 o'clock in the morning in Richmond. I'm like, man, I got to get these guys to work.
Right.
They're like, they thought we were about to commit the crime of the century.
You were. You're about to go to work. About to go get paid.
And so all these guys are like, Marshall, you ain't got no drugs. And I'm just like, no, shut up.
the fuck
I'm like, shut
up.
up. No, I ain't got no drugs. So we're on the ground and we got, man, they ran us through everything. And thank God, for once in my life, my license was good.
Right.
My registration was good. My insurance was good. Everything was fine.
Right.
And none of these guys had drugs on them. They felt them all day, patted us all down. And ultimately, we piled back in the thing and we drove on. But I thought to myself, man, how many times in my life has everything not been perfect? How
Yeah.
many times had there been something that I knew in my mind was going to be a problem?
Now, I wonder.
And I didn't want to get held up. Because, dude, you're not, let me explain something to you. Once they say to you, put your hands behind your back, that doesn't mean for the next 10 seconds.
Right.
That doesn't mean for the next couple hours. That could mean I'm on bond right now. I'm out on bond right now from Atlanta. I got pulled over 2 fucking years ago in Atlanta doing nothing wrong without a drop of alcohol in my body. And I got pulled over for a DUI, not having my seatbelt on, which I was wearing, and for using my phone as a GPS, which is completely legal.
That's an odd one. I don't know about that.
2 years ago.
Weird.
I got a lawyer. They're going to fight it. I'm going to go into court and fight it. Trust me. I can't wait to put my lawyer is like, you should have just pleaded. I was like, I ain't pleading the shit. I'm fucking fighting it. So I'm out on bond right now. I understand. Let me tell you something. The things they do to people when they pull you over in the middle of the night, they're going to do whatever they want.
Oh, yeah. No, you're
And
right.
if you are black, I
right.
can't even
I will
imagine.
tell you. I will tell you a story.
And they're going to pull a gun on you. Look, the guy wanted to shoot me, and I was white. The guy wanted to kill me. He made it clear. He wanted to kill me. I could tell. No,
How
look,
can
man.
you tell that? You can't tell that.
Bro,
You would have just killed
I've
you.
been arrested. Been arrested a shitload of times, man.
All right, let me tell you. I'll tell you a story
Go ahead.
of how it went for me. I was big into motorcycles. I had a sport
know.
bike.
I know
Got
you-
stolen from my job. Right out front. They just rolled it in a trailer, drove off, right? And so I went on the hunt looking for it. And about a week later, I see a vehicle matching the exact vehicle that I owned on eBay. Not far from here. It was in Macon, or like south of Macon.
all right,
It was a
let me ask you
drivable
this
distance. Okay.
You're the legal owner of this bike.
Yeah. Yeah, it was all up. I reported it stolen, all that jazz.
And-
I didn't have
and-
full coverage on it. I had regular insurance
all
on
right,
it.
well,
So,
let me ask you this: what did the cops do to help you?
oh, they don't help you. Yeah, they didn't help me. They
Okay,
said everything.
all right. Well, then
Yeah,
I just
so
want to make a clear point.
no, they're not. They're going to help. They're not going to help you.
Okay, so
I've had several
and what
things
do they-
stolen from
What
me.
is the slogan on the side of
Yeah,
their car?
serve and protect. They serve you with warrants, and they protect themselves from your ass from killing them.
Okay,
So-
so
let me go with my
just-
story
all right,
now.
well, then before you just dismiss me, what I'm
I'm
saying.
not dismissing you because I'm going to tell you what my experience was. So I find this vehicle on eBay, and I said I got to buy it. So I borrow money from my dad.
And you didn't say.
Oh, I did. I said, hey,
let
look,
me
I
call
found
the
it.
cops.
I did. They
Let me
said there's nothing we
notify
can
the
do.
cops.
Nothing we can
Okay,
do.
so you tried to go through the legal system.
Yeah, no. I said, look, this
And
vehicle matches it. It looks
When
exactly
you
like my
went through
bike.
the legal system,
They did nothing.
they did nothing.
So what did I do?
Thank
I
you.
bought it. I bought the bike on eBay. I borrowed money from my dad, and I bought it. And
Your
I
own bike. That
So
was stolen.
that I believed was my bike. I believed it to be my bike.
All right.
Right? So I borrow my stepdad's truck, my mom's husband's truck, and I was driving it for like 2 days. And because at the time I really just rode a bike everywhere. And so my girlfriend at the time, who was later, my wife, we hadn't been dating that long, maybe like 8 months or something. So she's going to ride down there with me to go pick it up, right? Because I bought it. So we drive down to Macon. I meet this guy. I look it over. It's not my bike. It looks, spot on identical, but different VIN number. So I buy the bike, put it in the back of the truck because I bought it on eBay. I had to buy it. So I put it in the truck, and we're driving back from Macon. It's like 11 o'clock at night or something. It was dark, and we're just cruising up 75, cruise control, it's a decent truck. I mean, it was like a piece of shit. It was a regular, Dodge Ram or whatever the fuck he had. And we're just cruising up highway. I get blue lighted on 75. Wonder
How
what.
fast are you going?
I was cruise control at like 70, 75 miles an hour at traffic. I mean, I'm going the same speed as the people next to me. It's middle of the night. There's nobody out there. So I get blue lighted. I get pulled over. I'm not in the least bit concerned at all because I'm barely even going anywhere. Right? I just bought this bike, whatever. It's cool. I've got my documents. So the cop pulls us over. And, hey, what'd you pull me over for? Oh, you were doing 85. I'm like, well, that doesn't seem right. I mean, I was on cruise control. So I wasn't doing 85. But all right, let me see your license, whatever. So I open my wallet, pull out my license. I have another ID in there. It's not my ID. It's not her ID. It's a friend of ours ID because we all went out. This was on us. I think I got arrested on a Sunday. But I had a friend of hers ID on us from when we all went out. I didn't give it back to her. So he says, what's that? I said, oh, it's just our friend's ID. We all went out, and I forgot to give it back to her. Okay, well, you sit right here, looking around the car. Okay, cool. Another cop pulls up. Interesting. Walk around to her window, right? And I'm probably 24 at the time, 23. Remember how old I was. I was in my early 20s. Not worried. Whatever. They come over. Hey, I had my laptop and my office stuff, my printer and stuff in the car. And he goes, oh, well, we want to know about this ID. Let me see it. I'm like, it's not a fake ID. It's a real ID. It's a person. It looks nothing like her. Wouldn't be used as a fake ID. Oh, well, he's making fake IDs. That's what he tells her. She's like, no, that's my friend. Okay, well, this is what's going to happen. You're going to get out of the car. We're going to come talk to you because there's a warrant for your arrest. For me. For some traffic violation. Some bullshit that was paid. Up in Gwinnett County. I got to go to Gwinnett County, apparently. Allegedly. Okay. Well, listen. You're both going to jail because you're in possession of someone else's ID. And unless you tell us that he is making this, you tell us what's happening right now, that he's making these IDs, you're coming with us too. She's like, well, that's not what's happening. This not happening. We both get arrested. They impound the truck with the bike in it, take us to Troup County Jail. Let me tell you, Troup County Jail is one very nice facility. Motherfucker has got marble all over it, and it has got marble over it for a reason. 100% reason. They don't give you the minimum fucking nothing at Troup County. So I get there. There's nobody in the jail. It's like me and her and like one other person. There's nobody else in the holding jail. So I'm like, well, this is bullshit. She calls her mom. I call up my mom because I was driving, her husband's truck for one. I'm like, your truck's fucking down here impounded. That's a problem. So, and I said, they telling me they're going to take my ass up to Gwinnett County tomorrow. And she's like, for what? I'm like, they won't tell me what for. They just tell me I'm going on the bus. So she drives all the way down there in the middle of the night. It's like 2-hour drive, Troop County. Okay, get the information to go get his truck out. Her mom comes down, pays the bond to get her out of jail. They take my ass back to Gwinnett County. I'll tell you this much. I didn't sit in Gwinnett County for more than fucking 6 hours once I got there. Oh, here's your fine. Pay your fine, go home. Give us some money, go home. So I'm like, W fucking this. So then I have to go back to Troop County and deal with this bullshit. She goes down, she gets probation, 12 months probation for something she didn't do. Had done 0 things wrong. Paid a fine like $500. $500. Okay, well, let me finish this. We'll take a short break. And I got hit with the fine of $500 and 12 months. The maximum fine for going 12 miles an hour over the speed limit. The maximum fine, 12 months probation and a fine.
12, you gotta drive 9.
Dude,
Drive 9, you gotta drive
I wasn't
9.
even driving that. But they didn't give a shit. They railroaded the shit out of me. And that shit stuck. I paid that fine and I was off probation. And 5 years later, I get pulled over. And I told this story the last time. I told you I got pulled over for a taillight out. And nope, you come with me going back to Troop County. That's what they did, man. Yeah, all right, we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back. Quick break.
Sorry, man. All
right. I got a shot, so we could do a shot in honor of all the people for the day
Okay.
of Memorial Day. Fair enough.
All right, hold on.
I
What
got,
you got?
I got some Irish, some Conor McGregor whiskey. Some proper 12. I got some of the proper 12. That's a terrible accent.
All right, by the way, FYI, you say I never finished a bottle of tequila.
I said a whole bottle a day. I don't know when you started that shit. Fuck with me.
I'll finish this, and then I'll get a drink another one.
Hey, if you can handle it, more power to you.
I mean, I ain't trying to be.
I just can't.
I never try to be. I
can't
never try to
stomach
be
it.
nothing more than I am, man. I just am. Are we on?
We're on. We're good. Cheers to that.
Our lights out.
Yeah, I'll fix the light later. Figure it out. This one's good enough. Whoa. I inhaled that. I got to golf at the same time I drink it. Came up. Oh.
Gotta have
Damn
a
it,
chaser, man. Gotta have a chaser.
I have a chaser. Oh, where the fuck that went? Yikes. All right, so we shared our cop stories, and we determined that inherently cops don't kill that many people. They kill some people. I argued this before because most people incarcerated are black men. Like the majority of incarcerated people are black men, so clearly they don't kill all of them. But we also shouldn't arrest all of them for the crimes. I don't know. Justice system fucked up.
Well, I'll just say what I think. That's why I love this opportunity to say what I think. The worst criminals in the world are the people that we put on pedestals. Because let me tell you something. I know what it takes to make $200 to $500 a day. I know what that feels like. And if you're going to make $500 a day, you got to work your ass off to make $500 a day.
As a laborer, you are correct.
But when people say to me that there's a way to make more than $500 a day, then I know for a fact that in order for me to do that, I got to fuck people over.
I don't believe that.
Well, that's because you live in this. You live in this. I mean, look, I ain't bad mouthing you. My ex-wife lives in a beautiful house. She has a beautiful house on a lake in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's beautiful. She takes care of my son. She's bought him 3 cars. He drives a Subaru Outback now. As a graduating senior, I'm sure it's paid for. She just bought a brand new Nissan, whatever.
You got to find a way. You want to make more than $500 a day, you need to find a way to service a lot of people for a little bit of money.
You got to find a way to get people to work for you.
Or to buy something that you offer a service or a solution to a problem. Yeah.
No, man.
Not that
You
complicated.
got to figure out how to take advantage of other
Nah.
people. And
I'll tell you this much: the guy who makes that El Toro makes more than $500 a day. He's not fucking you over.
Well, you know what?
He's giving you the ride of your life.
You know what? He's earning his fucking money.
He's earning it.
He's earning it. And by the way, just FYI, that bottle was above the label.
When you got here, it was like halfway. Halfway. I don't know.
You trying to hurt me, bro? I'm just trying to throw it out there. I'm just trying to throw it out there. All right. Well, this is my last. This.
What do you
and
got?
Then we'll do a. We need to reformat. My whole thing is we need to reformat. I talked about it. So before we do the last segment, I will just say that I would like our last segment instead of "Don't be a dick" because I know we did "Don't be a dick." And let me tell you something. I can stomp your ass. If you want to be a dick, I'll stomp your ass. I can fuck you up. If you want to be a dick, I'll fuck you up. I will. If you want to fight me in a prison shower, I will fuck you up. But I would like to say, don't be a dick anymore. Our last segment is going to be like, who's doing a good thing? So,
Okay.
all right. But my last
Where are you going?
critical shit, since we did
He's messed
a
up my
couple
screen.
critical shits for you.
I don't know what he
Crazy ass
wants back
dog,
there.
Crazy ass dog.
He wants something back there.
I want to talk about the big lie.
The big lie.
I want to talk about the big lie.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. I want to talk about.
lie gonna be?
I mean, I feel like I hear that term. I hear that term all the time.
What term?
Big lie. The big lie.
I don't hear
What
it.
is
are you
what
talking
is
about?
it?
What is it?
Who's lying? What's big about it?
Yeah.
Who's I want to know. I want to know who's lying. Who's lying about what? I want to hear what you think.
What's the big lie? What is it? You know what I saw today?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I laughed.
No.
I literally laughed out loud. It was on my front page of Google News, and it is. Oh, let me find it. And I was like, "This is the most ridiculous shit." I can't believe I'm reading this on the news.
Is it big lie related? Because I would like to do this.
I mean,
wanna
I
try
would
to-
say it's a pretty
'cause
big lie.
we never stay on topic. I would
We
like to
don't.
stay on topic.
I don't know what your big lie is, but this was what is her name? Republican attorney for
Laura
Trump.
Ingraham,
No.
Powell,
No.
no,
It's not Powell.
Sarah Powell.
Maybe it's
Yeah.
Sarah Powell.
Yeah, she's
Is that
the
it? She's the
she's the
attorney.
lyingest liar among liars.
Is that right? Let me look. Was her name Sarah Powell?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay.
whoever it
Go ahead.
was, I want to say it
Okay.
was Powell, came out and said some more shit
Right.
that Biden can just
Okay.
step down and Trump can just step back into
Right,
office.
right. Hey, there you go.
What?
Right.
He can just
sure.
he can just
Sure.
move back in,
Sure.
and it's okay.
Trump to just. All right. By the way, I don't even like saying his fucking name. Go ahead.
I don't know. I read it and I
No,
was
no,
like,
no.
"This is the
Don't
most
read it.
dumbest
Don't just
shit."
read it.
I
Pull
can't
it
even.
up.
I'm trying to find it.
I notice I can't even see the screen anymore. That's
Yeah, I have
okay.
to rotate a little bit,
No,
but
it's okay. It's okay.
yeah, he can be. Here it is.
No, it's good.
Sydney Powell. not
Sydney
Sarah
Powell. Sarah Powell. Sydney
Sydney
Powell.
Powell. Who cares? She's fucking crazy.
All right. No. She's not
crazy.
crazy.
She has to be crazy.
No,
It's
she's
just-
not crazy. 30 to 70% of Republicans believe what she's saying.
It's nuts.
Real quick.
The Patriot Roundup.
Real quick.
Yep.
Real quick
Okay.
interjection.
All right.
When I was in 9th grade, I was sitting in class, and they said, "We have a new student." I was like, "All right, that's cool." And they were like, "His name is Glenn Youngkin." And I was like, "All right, that's cool. Glenn Youngkin, come on in." Glenn Youngkin was 6'5". That's a freshman.
Okay.
And he started on a varsity basketball team at Norfolk Academy High School in Norfolk, Virginia. Glenn Youngkin is currently, now in 2021, the Republican nominee for governor of Virginia. And I know that motherfucker.
You said Glenn Youngkin?
Glenn Youngkin. When he was 6'5" as a freshman in Norfolk Academy, we knew him as Duncan Glenn Youngkin.
Okay. Youngkin.
Yeah.
I spelled it very wrong, but yeah, okay.
Yeah. No. Duncan Glenn Youngkin.
There he
Yeah,
is.
that's him.
That's the guy.
That's the dude.
He looks like a politician.
Well,
Look at him.
by
Look
the
at him.
way,
He's
when
dressed
I knew
nice.
him, he was fucking 16 years old.
He looks like a guy. He looks like a guy who has some skeletons in his closet and needs to run.
I can assure you, as a guy that knew him when he was 16 years old, he has many skeletons in his closet. Just so that you know. And Glenn Youngkin, I cannot believe you are running. Oh, I'm sorry. My son doesn't like when I'm loud.
Ah, you got to be a little loud. This is it. I'm pull up on our screen.
I'm going to do one more shot. I would like to say this to all y'all, that the 3 people that listen to our podcast,
There he is, Glenn Youngkin.
I'd like to say that to y'all.
He looks like a guy
Hey.
who has some shit he doesn't want his wife to know about, for sure. He looks like he's got some hidden tabs on his web browser.
He's like 6'8", probably now, I'm sure. He was 6'5" as a freshman.
It's a big dude.
You grow when you grow, right? You grow from a you don't top out.
You shouldn't
your
top out as a
year.
freshman year.
So he was like 6'5" as a freshman. And he was a great basketball player. Go
Rice
ahead.
University on a basketball scholarship.
Where?
Rice University. Oh, where is that?
That's in Texas.
I don't know. He got an MBA from Harvard. So, typical white dude. I don't know, man. He's out there. I don't know. What's he stand for? Does anyone know? Do you know what he stands for? What's he fucking run on? Look, here's the thing. I like what I sent you the stuff on Meet Kevin because I like what Kevin's running. I like what Kevin's doing. He just did a 32-hour live stream on YouTube as a fundraiser to raise money for his campaign. So he was on YouTube streaming live for 32 hours. I don't know how he made it, man. He was still trucking at the end of 32 hours, and he raised like 120 grand or something for his campaign, which is in the scheme of like California governor race, not a lot of money. He's got a long way to go. But I liked what I like a lot of his answers to the California problems. I think he's young, and I think he's got a lot of good energy. I think he'll solve some problems. He's definitely not, he's no Glenn Youngkin. That's for sure. I like mostly I like his education stance. I like what he wants to do with education.
What you want to do? Tell me, man.
I told you, didn't I explain to you future schools last time you were here? We talked about future schools. His plan, because I sent you the clip on it, and I should pull it up. Let me pull it up. Meet Kevin, future schools.
Oh man, don't.
I can make you. I mean, well.
Just tell me.
Oh
Just
God,
tell
so much to talk
me.
about. All right, so what he wants to do is take basically like 70 to 80% of college and high school and combine them. All right, so the last 2 years of high school, first 2 years of college, combine them into a future school. Every teacher, this will be free. Future school costs you no money. You don't have to enroll in it. You just go to it. You start off as a freshman in high school, sophomore in high school, then you can opt to go to a future school. All the teachers in future schools will make no less than $120,000 a year as their base salary to teach. Right. Now, wait. When you go there, you will at 14. I think it's at 14 or 15 years old. You will pick a path, a career path-ish, very generalized path, whether it's business, Salesforce, trade type school, something like that. And you will learn business acumen around that industry. You will learn financial stability. You will learn financial responsibility. You will learn tax codes for that industry. You will learn things that matter to that. Then, after 2 years of generalized curriculum in that industry that you would like to do, then you will go into a little bit more specific industry. If you wanted to be a plumber or an electrician or a nurse or an EMT or anything that requires a certification, you'll spend 2 years at this school learning that job, and you will leave high school at 18. You will leave there with a certification in that field that you want to do. You will leave there with no debt and a certification that will get you a job in the real world and financial knowledge and responsibility to go forth and build your own wealth without leaving school in debt, in hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. That's what he wants to do. So he wants kids to leave high school, basically, at the end of this term at 18, with the knowledge of something, because not everyone wants to go to a 4-year university or needs to. You know, some guys want to go do they want to start their own business and have no idea how. How do I get an LLC? How do I manage my books? How do I do bookkeeping? How do I find employees? How do I do these things? Marketing.
How do I pay a Republican?
Do what?
What?
You said something about he's not a Republican.
How do I pay?
He's not a Republican candidate. He's a Democratic candidate. It's not even a Republican solution. It's a solution to why does everyone go to school and leave there with a mass amount of debt that they can't pay back?
All right. And I'll be honest with you. I wish in terms of my own son, he would just learn. And I would say that to everybody. I would try to give that advice to everybody. My son won't listen to me, but I wish people would listen to me. Learn. Man, look. In my life, I have realized that in the world, all you have to do is listen and learn. And if you learn, you will understand what's happening in the world.
Look, I'm going to show you something. I saw this today and I liked it. And this is, like I said, someone you don't know. Gary Vaynerchuk talking about parents.
If you walked into your parents' house in 1987 and said, "Dad, I want to be a chef," your dad would have been like, "You're going to be a cook in a restaurant, you loser." But what would have happened is you could have gone on to become a famous chef. And if you listen to your kids, they're going to give you insights to the future can be. And this is a very powerful parenting tip. Every parent is judging their kids based on yesterday, but your kids are living in today, which is a better indicator of the world.
Isn't that right? Isn't that right?
Okay.
We don't
well then we can agree.
We don't
Well
listen.
then we can agree because I've tried to raise my son this way, and I know people are like, "Man, I don't care how you raise your son," but I have tried as hard as I can to raise my son the way that I would love for the rest of America to raise their children. And I'm like, man, let them truly be free. Let them truly explore who they are. My son battled me at a batting cage when he was about 13 years old. He was ready to hit me with a bat. And I was proud of him for it. And all I'm saying is, man, these kids are young. They're smart. They know what they want to do. Give them the freedom to do it. We don't know everything. I know nothing. I want to see the world better. I don't care who does it. I don't care. Anybody can do it. Anybody can be better. Anybody can make the world better. You have to listen. You have to listen. That's what we do here. Some people are born free. Some people die free. And some people live their lives free as fuck. Thank you so much for listening.
You're out. That's what you got to say. You're right. Some people do. I think we need to all just kind of, I think we all as a society just need to be better people. And we need to evolve. And that's, you know, we can circle back to all of the topics that we've talked about. And at the end of the day, everything that we've said here is history. Everything we said there is already happened. We're talking about things that we cannot change. What we can do is change the way that we act from here on out. And there's a powerful clip, man. I tell you, when I was going through shit and I was upset and I was depressed, I listened to the same clips over and over again in my earphones. And one of the most powerful clips that I listened to is a clip of Joe Rogan saying that you are not the person you were yesterday. You are not the person you were 6 months ago. You're not the person you were 5 years ago. You're not that person anymore. You're the person that you are today. You wake up today. That's the person you are today. And none of that shit that you did or didn't do matters. What matters is what you do today. And people need to understand that. People need to understand what that honest to God means. Is that, you know what? Maybe yesterday you were a dick to somebody at Quick Trip. Maybe yesterday you weren't the best father. You weren't the best son. You weren't the best anything. You weren't the best employee. And none of that shit matters. What matters is when you wake up today, from right now, you're not even woken up. You've been up. It's 9 o'clock. We're going to go to bed soon. What you do right now, that's what matters. You can change anything that you've ever done. You don't have to be that person. There's people out there that need to hear that. And they need to stop and change their life. And they need to do better, which is what we're doing here. This is exactly what we're doing. We're trying to reach people. And we're trying to make the world a little bit better by just giving a glimpse of two guys hanging out with opinions. But at the same time, it's two people who aren't here to be malice toward anybody or to tell you that you're right or wrong. Just tell you just to do better. Whatever it is, just do better. And that shit got me through a lot, man, because you would look and say, especially when you're in a bad relationship, or you're about, it could be, it doesn't have to be a wife or a husband, or it could be a brother or a sister or a job, or it could be your dog, whatever relationship you're in with whoever is in your life. If that person tells you that you are not good for them, or you are toxic, or you are something, you can tell them, no, I was toxic. I was that person. And I'm not have to be that person anymore. And you can wake up today, put your shoes on, and go change your life. We all have the ability to do it. And it's one day at a time. And that shit changed my life. And I have days still where I put those earbuds in and I listen to that exact clip. It's about 12, 18 minutes long over and over again. And I listen to the struggle of somebody that I look up to who remembers what it was like to not know what they were doing in life and to fuck up and make mistakes and to recognize those mistakes and own them and move forward in life and do better. And everyone has those days, man. You're always going to have those days. It's going to be more of them than, it's going to be more of those days than not. And what matters is how you wake up and you, all right, today is the day we're just going to do better. And every day you do a little better. And if we all do that, the world will be a better place. You'll have less be a dick moments. Don't be a dick moments. You'll have less people out there shooting each other. You'll have less interactions with cops. You won't get tased anymore. You might get tased a few times. You might like it. What do I know?
Tased. I hate getting tased.
What I'm saying is that you don't have to be that person. Everything that we talk about here is history. It's in the past. And that's why even the Tulsa thing, I understand we need to talk about it, but as 100 years ago, that's a long time ago. And what we needed to realize is that the people who are affected by it today are not the same people who did it 100 years ago. And we need to realize that at some point, we just have to be better people to one another. And we've talked about this before. In my daily life, I encounter people from everywhere, whether it's at the store or at the lake or at work or in traffic or at the gym, wherever I'm at. None of these people look at me as if I want to harm them or be an asshole to them in any way. None of them. I don't see any of them. And there's some people in traffic who probably think that about everybody. I know one. I dated her for 2 years. She gets in the car. She's a nightmare. Everyone on the road is an absolute enemy of the state to that woman. But I don't believe that we as a population and a society here are inherently that way. So I think that we need to get out and we need to just be better people. And that's what we're talking about. So we get heated in these discussions. That's great. But at the end of the day, all we're trying to do is be a little better. I know that's what you're trying to do. And that's what I'm trying to do. We both have kids. And we want them to grow up in a world that doesn't believe in any of the shit that we're even talking about. Am I right? We want them to grow up in a world where the Tulsa race massacre isn't even a thought in their head. Not because it didn't happen, not because we shouldn't acknowledge that it happened, but because in our world, that should have never happened at all. And that's why I think we do this every day or every week or however, whenever we're going to do this. I think that's the end game, is that for me, at least with my kids, is for them to grow up and understand that bad shit has happened in the country or in the world since the beginning of time. But today, bad shit's not going to happen. And we're going to go on and we're going to be good people. We're going to live our life and we're going to be productive people. We're going to be good people. And that some people, listen, some people are going to be dicks. Some people are going to be assholes. Some people are going to be mean. And that's okay, because those people just need love and attention. That's it. They don't need you. If someone wants to pick on you, good. Let them get it out, because there's a reason why they're picking on you, and it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them. They have not made peace with something that has happened to them. Or they're deflecting something that happens to them when you don't see them. You know, not everyone has a great life. Not everyone has something excited to go home to. So they take it out on somebody else. And that's cool. And we can laugh it off. You know, if you've ever been a comedian, if you've ever tried stand-up comedy, you know. We can laugh it off. It ain't that serious. And honestly, I don't care. Opinions of other people don't bother me in the least bit. If you like me, great. If you don't like me, great. I don't care. I don't care. Either way. All I want to care is that you don't go and harm somebody else. Because you don't hurt my feelings in the least bit. You don't bother me. And I think that's what we need to put out there. I do. So if you listen to this and you're feeling down and you feel like, I don't know, or if you're feeling angry at somebody, just let it go, man. Just let it go. Realize this. You get one life. You get one at bat. Don't waste it being mad at somebody. Don't waste it being spiteful at somebody. If you don't like that person, if you don't like what they did to you, if you don't agree with them, 7 billion people out there, meet a new person. I saw someone post something on this Facebook group. It's called the Asshole Boaters of Lake Lanier. And it's just a group of people who just bullshit and meet up on the lake. And they see dumb stuff on the lake and they post it and they laugh about it. And this guy posted, he slept on him and his whoever, he's on his boat, slept on a beach on the lake. And they wake up and there's a pontoon boat next to them that's not with them. And he's like, of all the other beaches, you had to pick this one. And I'm like, now you can choose to be an asshole, or you can go make a friend. Someone else, like, you don't own the island, bro. We're on a lake. They saw a nice beach. You taking up the whole beach. Share the beach. Make a friend. Because you know what? You know what comes down to it? If you want to be an asshole to that, you know what's going to happen to them, Marshall? You told us last time you were here. Their boat's not going to start. It's going to run out of gas. The prop's going to fall off. They're going to be stuck in the middle of the lake. And this pontoon boat full of happy people is going to just drive right the fuck by them to go meet up with some other happy ass people and leave your asshole ass right there on the lake by your damn self. That's what's going to happen. So just be nice to people, man. That's what we're out here to do. That's why we're free as fuck.
People are born free. Some people die free. Some people live free as.
That's it. That's what we got for you today. We'll see you next time.